putting s1 and then extending the point s1 towards minus infinity using the concept of limit. So we have second step is limit s1 tends to minus infinity from integration from s1 to a 1 upon 1 plus x square dx, and second integration is limit s2 tends to infinity from a to s2 1 upon 1 plus x square dx. Now we want to evaluate the integration of 1 upon 1 plus x square, that is tan inverse of x. Next, applying the upper limit and lower limit tan inverse of x, we have limit s1 tends to minus infinity tan inverse of a minus tan inverse of s1 plus limit s2 tends to infinity tan inverse of s2 minus tan inverse of a. Then applying the s1 tends to minus infinity inside the intervals, inside the bracket, we have tan inverse of a minus tan inverse of minus infinity plus tan inverse of infinity minus tan inverse of a. So first term is tan inverse of a, last term is tan inverse minus tan inverse of a, it will cancel. Remaining is minus tan inverse of minus infinity plus tan inverse of infinity. But tan inverse of minus infinity is minus pi by 2 and tan inverse of infinity is plus pi by 2. So sum is pi, which is a finite unique number, hence the given integral is convergent. Next example is discuss the convergence of integration from 1 to infinity 1 upon x raised to p dx. Sometimes it is known as p integral also. We will solve this example in two cases. Here case 1 is if p equal to 1, then what? Then integration 1 to infinity 1 upon x raised to p dx is equal to integration 1 to infinity 1 upon x dx, putting p equal to 1 in the main integral. Now it is of first kind improper integral. We replace infinity by some number c, then we can write this is equal to limit c tends to infinity integration from 1 to c 1 upon x dx. Again integrating 1 upon x, we know that integration of 1 upon x is ln x, so it is limit c tends to infinity ln of x from c to 1. It is equal to limit c tends to infinity, applying upper limit we have ln of c, applying lower limit we have ln of 1. Now ln of 1 is 0, and applying c tends to infinity to the term ln c, we have ln of infinity, and ln of infinity is infinite number. So answer of this integral is infinite for the case p equal to 1. Thus integral is divergent when value of p is 1. Let us consider the another situation. Case 2, if p not equal to 1. Now integration from 1 to infinity 1 upon x raised to p dx is equal to limit c tends to infinity integration from 1 to c 1 upon x raised to p dx is equal to limit c tends to infinity, and we know that integration of x raised to minus p is x raised to minus p plus 1 upon minus p plus 1 from c to 1. Now taking out common from denominator the term 1 upon 1 minus p, so remaining is 1 upon 1 minus p into limit c tends to infinity x raised to 1 minus p. Next, applying the limit, we have 1 upon 1 minus p into limit c tends to infinity c raised to 1 minus p minus 1. Say equation number 1 to this term. Next, now we consider the two another cases. We have taken that in the case 2 we have taken that p is not equal to 1. That means there is two possibility, either p is less than 1 or p is greater than 1. In which first case, if p less than 1, then p minus 1 is less than 0. This will imply 1 minus p is greater than 0. So what happens? here equation 1 is 1 upon 1 minus p limit c tends to infinity c raised to 1 minus p minus 1. Now we consider the case if p less than 1, then what? This will imply p minus, this is equation, p minus 1 less than 0. This will imply 1 minus p greater than 0. Here in the first equation, limit c tends to infinity c raised to 1 minus p minus 1. So power of c, that is 1 minus p, and 1 minus p for this case is greater than 0. So we apply c tends to infinity, then this term will become 1 upon 1 minus p into infinity minus 1. Because c tends to infinity, then c raised to 1 minus p is also infinity, and hence this term infinity minus 1, and this is equal to infinity. That means integral is divergent when p is less than 1. So when p is less than 1, then integral is divergent. Integral 1 to infinity 1 upon x raised to p dx is divergent for this case p less than 1. Now we consider the another situation when p greater than 1. When p greater than 1, then this will imply p minus 1 greater than 0, and this will imply 1 minus p less than 0. You see in the equation 1 that the power of c is 1 minus p, but in this case 1 minus p is less than 0. So to make it positive, here we write the equation 1 in this form. This is equal to 1 upon 1 minus p limit c tends to infinity 1 upon c raised to p minus 1 minus 1. Here we have taken reciprocal of c raised to 1 minus p by making it positive. So now c raised to p minus 1 and p minus 1 is greater than 0. So if we apply limit c tends to infinity, then it is 1 upon infinity minus 1. Now 1 upon infinity is 0, so final answer is minus 1 upon 1 minus p, which is a finite unique number. So integral is convergent for case p greater than 1. So finally we will come on the conclusion that if p greater than 1, then integral is convergent, and if p less than or equal to 1, then integral is divergent. Next, here the concept is given comparison test. So sometime we come across the integrals which are non-elementary, that means whose integrations are sometimes not possible, or whose integration are not known for us. Then if we have to evaluate this type of integration, then what we can do? Then fortunately there are comparison tests to evaluate this type of integrals, in which first test is direct comparison test. Direct comparison test, see on the slide. If f of x and g of x are continuous functions on closed interval a to infinity, and 0 less than or equal to f of x less than or equal to g of x on closed interval a half open interval a to infinity, then we have two possibilities. First, integration from a to infinity f of x dx converges if integration a to infinity g of x dx converges. Second is integration a to infinity g of x dx diverges if integration a to infinity f of x dx is diverges. Let us try to understand this direct comparison test here. Here we are given that the functions f of x and g of x should be continuous on closed half open interval a to infinity, as well as it should be in the form of 0 less than or equal to f of x less than or equal to g of x. Here f of x is smaller function and g of x is bigger function. Okay, smaller f of x is smaller, g of x is bigger. Then what this direct comparison test want to tell us? It want to tell us if the bigger integral is convergent, that means integration from a to infinity g of x d of x is convergent, then smaller integral is also convergent, means integration a to infinity f of x dx is also convergent. When bigger is convergent, then smaller one is also convergent. This is the first result. Second is, if smaller integral is divergent, then bigger is also divergent. That means if integration from a to infinity f of x dx is divergent, then integration a to infinity of g of x dx is also divergent. So this is the concept to understand in this direct comparison test. Now we see some of the examples of direct comparison test, and before that we will study one more comparison test, that is a limit comparison test. Here stated the limit comparison test. If the positive functions f of x and g of x are continuous on half open interval from a to infinity, and if limit x tends to infinity f of x upon g of x is equal to L, where 0 less than L less than infinity, then integration a to infinity f of x dx and integration a to infinity g of x dx both converges or diverges simultaneously. So here this limit comparison test want to tell us that if we can choose any function g of x whose convergence or divergence is known, and limit x tends to infinity f of x upon g of x is equal to L exists. That means limit of the ratio f of x upon g of x is exists, then we will say that the integral is both integral is converges or diverges together. The necessary condition is that the limit of the f of x upon g of x should be finite and non-zero positive number. Then we can apply this limit comparison test. Next, examples of direct comparison test. The first example is, discuss the convergence of integration from 1 to infinity of sine square x upon x square dx. Obviously you can see that the integration sine square x upon x square is not directly integrable, but even if we want to evaluate this integration, then we can apply the direct comparison test to solve that. How? We know that sine function lies between -1 to +1. Now if we square, then we have 0 less than or equal to sine square x less than or equal to 1, but we require sine square x upon x square, so we will divide on every side by x square. Thus we have 0 less than or equal to sine square x upon x square less than or equal to 1 upon x square. So it is in the form of 0 less than or equal to f of x less than or equal to g of x. Now here we can determine the nature of 1 upon x square, integral of 1 upon x square. Now integration of 1 upon x square from 1 to infinity dx is equal to, it is nothing but a p integral with p is equal to 2, which is greater than 1. And we have seen in the earlier example that if we have any integration in this form, integration from 1 to infinity 1 upon x raised to p dx, then integration is convergent if p greater than 1 and is divergent if p less than or equal to 1. If p less than or equal to 1, here 2 is greater than 1, so this integral is convergent. That means this bigger integral is convergent. Here it is in the form of gx. So by direct comparison test we can say that if bigger integral is convergent, then smaller integral is also convergent. Thus this integration from 1 to infinity sin square x upon x square dx is also convergent. So by this way you can evaluate this type of integration whenever integrand is non-elementary function. Next example is, show that integral from 1 to infinity e raised to 2x upon x square plus 1 dx is divergent. Solution, we will try to solve this example here. Here e raised to 2x upon x square plus 1, the function is non-elementary, that means its integration is directly not possible. But we know that x is always less than or equal to e raised to x on this interval 1 to infinity, and it is less than or equal to 0. Okay, now we want this term e raised to 2x upon x square plus 1. So first we square on every side. We have 0 less than or equal to x square less than or equal to e raised to 2x. Now we want x